Hey everyone, my name is Richard and welcome back to the Stock Market Outlook video sponsored by MarketSmith. And overall this week, we did finish below the 21 EMA on the NASDAQ Composite. And overall on this Tuesday, we had a gap down and a kind of mid-level close after finding support near the 50 SMA. On this day, we had a nice inside consolidation day, although we did finish near the lows of the day. We had a little bit of weakness to start off Thursday, but finished strongly right near the highs and followed through to the upside here with a gap up. But once again, a kind of mid-level close, and once again, we are below that 21 EMA. The SPY, the S&P 500, continues to outperform here and look much stronger here, breaking out to all-time highs today. But it also had a very similar gap down, although a strong close, bouncing off the 21 EMA, this purple line here. But as with a lot of growth stocks, the IWO in general is still forming out its base here, and that's why still things are choppy, and overall a lot of the previous winners in 2020 are still forming out their bases, and a lot of them got hit pretty hard this past week. We'll take a look later at pins. Twitter also gapped down on earnings. Peloton, for instance, continues to see some selling here, finishing near the lows of the day, but we'll get into this a lot more in depth later on in the video. And in this video, we'll talk about potential new leadership stocks that I'm stalking for an entry. We'll talk about how the old leaders are performing. Then we'll move on to the indexes, my previous watch list. Then we'll talk about sentiment from a few different sources, the IBD Big Picture article, and finally the GMI signal from WishingWellBlog.com. And if you do enjoy my analysis at any time, please go ahead and leave a like down below on this video. It really does help me out and my channel. And of course, subscribe if you're new and want to see more videos just like this one every single week. So diving right in, let's start with potential new leadership and start with NUE. So overall, trending beautifully from the breakout. You had a nice 3-bar break to the upside, as well as a 2-2 reversal here, breaking out of this tight range. And going over to a weekly, you can see this really controlled selling these few weeks with nice moves off their lows, as well as how this day wasn't just a 3-bar break on the daily to the upside. It also had the confluence of the kind of weekly setup, which was a 2-2 reversal through this high at 80.48. It also broke above the 3 previous week's high, so it was a 3-bar break to the upside on the weekly as well, and then continued strength here, finishing right near the top of the trading range for this past week. So NUE looks very strong. RVLV broke out today, a little bit of choppiness here and reported earnings, but finishing well off the lows on this Thursday, and a really nice follow through to the upside on huge volume, breaking out nicely from this base right near all-time high. So this looks pretty good. Definitely a strong breakout, and it's good to see these finally sticking, at least for today. So next week, you either want to see some nice consolidation, then a continued move to the upside, or ideally just a strong bar following through on volume. STLD, similar to NUE, looks strong, trending above all the key moving averages. And both these stocks, STLD as well as NUE, are a little bit extended from the 21 EMAs. Actually, I can just look over here. It's 17.2% from this moving average, so a little bit short-term extended, so definitely could use some consolidation, but I'll be watching this for a potential entry. Moving on, FCX, also a nice breakout to all-time highs through this pivot. A little bit of shakiness here, but overall a strong kicker candle on this Wednesday on not the greatest volume, but you had the volume come in on Thursday and Friday with a strong close to the week. ATKR continues to move up and trend above those key moving averages. Nice breakout here, and then a breakout pivot retest here, inside day, and then a kicker candle to start off this move this week. ASO, nice breakout as well from this tightness here, and you can see nice volume coming in on this day, the reversal day, the upside reversal, potential early entry here, then a 2-2 reversal confirmation. Then this bar is a little bit mixed because it had a ton of volume, but it didn't finish very strongly within its range. But overall, we had an inside day on this Friday. So you want to see this continue to the upside strongly on volume. You don't want to see this fade and retest, because this bar a little bit tells me there's some indecision at this moment with this breakout. So, and it did finish above this pivot, but I definitely want to see this confirmed strongly to the upside. VALE, also strong move here from the breakout. And this was on my watch list a few weeks ago, but overall strong move above the 21 EMA. LPX, strong move trending above the 21 EMA, but really hasn't given too many entry points recently, maybe an undercut and reclaim of the 21 EMA like back here, but overall it's just trending nicely towards all-time highs. Moving on to Crocs, you can see a strong earnings gap up and a continued move upward from that point. Potential entry area here on this bar as it had a bullish outside day, as well as a 3-bar break to the upside. But I would expect some consolidation to happen soon, and that should present a good low-risk entry point. DEN trending well above the 21 EMA, looks pretty good, but definitely could use a rest sometime soon. FTX breaking out from this cup shape here, this pivot, and is trending right at all-time highs, looks strong. UPS as well, huge gap up here and strong move to the upside, increasing 12% in just a few weeks. DE, short-term consolidation breakout here, looks pretty strong, nice closing range on this day and this day, and above average volume, so looks pretty good. Yeti, slight breakout here from a short-term consolidation after the breakout from the kind of larger base pattern here, but looks pretty good, acting well. I would like to see more volume coming in on this breakout, but we'll see if that can come in next week. Zim trending nicely above the 21 EMA, a little bit extended at this point, but it is consolidating the past 2 days. RH, nice move today. See if that falls through to the upside, but overall you had a few points to get in here. The base breakout, then this breakout from consolidation, and then once again this short flag here. Google, similar looking chart, but not quite as strong. Nice move up here, gap up. A little bit of indecision here in this candle and no real volume. So this might need to fall back, form a larger basing pattern here before moving upwards. And finally, Facebook also right near all-time highs, but not a great candle here on Friday. So we'll see if this can hold this gap up here. So those are the stocks that I view as potentially leading the market at this point. Let me know down below in the comments what stocks I should add to this list that have strong fundamentals and price action. So moving on to the old leaders, we'll go through these quickly. A lot of them are just basing and need a lot of time. Roku below all the key moving averages, not a great close today after earnings, but it did hold this gap, so that's something. But this closing range doesn't give me a lot of confidence going forward, and it wouldn't be proper if this just recovered strongly in a V shape. So this will likely need a lot of time. Apps as well, below all the key moving averages, and they're declining. Doesn't look too great, looks definitely a little bit weak. GRWG moving up today, but still below all these key moving averages, which are declining. Upwork, nice upside reversal action on this day and this day, reclaiming this anchored VWAP from the earnings gap up, but still has a lot of basing to do here. Etsy, earnings gap down here on huge volume, and then a good day today, but still not really approaching the base again, so this needs a lot of time in my view. SQ looks a little bit better, fought to reclaim the 21 EMA and the 50 SMA here, but you can see it closed below both. Net also reported earnings yesterday, and you can see it had a poor close overall. This needs time in my view. Corsair building out a longer term base, looks decent, but still has to get above the 50 SMA, although I think it just closed above it today and the 21 EMA. So this could be one to watch soon, as it does have some kind of higher low action here. Shop needs a little bit of time below all the key moving averages. Tesla also below all those key moving averages and rejected at the 50 SMA today. Zscaler doesn't look too good. CrowdStrike basing, Pins basing as well, but you can see it's just finding support here at the anchor VWAP from this huge earnings gap up here. So this is a key level to watch at around 58.65 or so. Twilio, you can see, is still basing here, not a great look the past 2 weeks. You can see a lot of gaps down, although it wasn't on huge volume, still doesn't give you a lot of confidence that there's some support at this time. SE looks stronger above the 50 SMA, but still not the greatest action recently, pulling back from this failed kind of cup with handle breakout here. ENPH still basing, building out the left-hand side. Neo still basing at this point. Fiverr still basing. XP, same thing. Peloton below all these key levels, so it doesn't look great at this moment, and not a great reaction to earnings yesterday. Twitter, huge gap down, no touch for me at this moment. TSM still basing. TDOC below that key level as well. CLH doesn't look too bad, but still is basing at this point, and not great price action in the past 2 days on higher volume. PLTR below this key level as well to end out the week. That's not great. And finally, Futu looks a little bit weak at this point as well, below 2 declining key moving averages. So looking back at the 2020 leaders, There's a reason that we have to move on and find new opportunities and new companies that have accelerating earnings, sales, and strong price action, because these are going to need a lot of time to develop their bases. And if they do form another move, it's going to take a while to set that up. So these are on my radar because I'll be watching them to kind of monitor them. But at this moment, they're not my focus. So moving on, let's talk about the indexes and look at the QQQ on a daily time frame. We went through this in MarketSmith, but I'll go through it quickly. Not a great close on this Monday, and that set up this kind of a gap up, move all the way down near the 50 SMA, but a decent close off the lows here. Then we had a nice inside day, upside reversal on this Thursday with a lot of growth stocks reversing like this as well. Then a slight close below the 21 EMA today, but overall a nice move up towards the moving averages. But next week, I do want to see us retake those and form some structure above here. Looking over at the Webby RSI, let's go to the composite. And overall, we're below the 21 EMA, so there's nothing really to see here. And looking at the comparison chart, let's bring up the comp Q and go over to the 50-day check. And overall, we are not extended at this point. You can see we're just barely above that 50 SMA, which was support this past week. So that's a good sign, but I do want to see a continued push up towards these all-time highs. And going over to a weekly chart, you can see overall we did lose this support here, but we did reclaim it this past week. Overall, we were down 1.12% with a daily close range of 51%, weekly close range of 58%. The expectation is sideways or higher, and we are in a stage 2 uptrend. Looking at the SPY, this definitely looks a lot stronger. Nice upside reversal action to end the week. Overall up 1.16% with a daily close range of 81%, weekly close range of 94%. Expectation is sideways or higher, and we are in a stage 2 uptrend. Looking at the IWM, this is still basing here, but once again, nice upside reversal this week. Overall up 0.22%, daily close range is 86%, weekly close range is 77%, and the expectation is sideways or higher, and we are in a stage 2 uptrend. Looking at SMH, overall nice upside reversal as well. Overall up 0.25%, daily close range is 54%, weekly close range is 85%. The expectation is sideways or higher, and we are in a stage 2 uptrend. Looking at GBTC as a proxy of Bitcoin, overall nice basing action here. I don't like this gap, so maybe this gets filled maybe next week, maybe the week after that. But overall, the expectation is sideways or higher, and we are in a stage 2 uptrend. If we go over to Ethereum, this looks much stronger, definitely showing some RS versus Bitcoin. And overall, we are up 26.5% with a daily close range of 45% and a weekly close range of 86%. Definitely short-term extended, but a very strong move regardless. Looking at the FFTY, this also gives a representation of growth stocks, and for the most part, we're still basing here. Did finish well off the lows, and the expectation is sideways or higher. Daily close range of 77%, weekly close range of 60%, and we are in a stage 2 uptrend. Looking at GLD, this had a breakout above the 30-week moving average, so we're no longer in a stage 4 decline. So you want to see this flatten here and start to move up, and potentially we could start a nice stage 2 uptrend once again. Looking at VIX, once again, we had a sharp push up here, but we're still pretty low here, down in 16.69. And the last one I want to look at is the DIA, the Dow Jones, which, like the SPY, looks very strong right near all-time highs. So the expectation is sideways or higher. Overall, we are up 2.64% with a daily close range of 88% and a weekly close range of 96%, and looks very strong in a nice stage 2 uptrend. So overall, looking at the indexes, nice upside reversal action on all of them pretty much. The SPY is in all-time highs. The QQQ and a lot of the more growth stock related ones are a little bit weaker and basing for the most part, but overall good things, and the expectation is sideways or higher. And moving on to my previous focus list, let's check out how this performed. Overall, FNKO and RVLV were our top performers. FNKO, nice breakout through this pivot, as well as a wick setup on this Friday. Huge volume coming in and looks very strong. A nice close right near the top of the trading range. And it looks like this was, this is at all-time highs. So it looks very strong. Up-down volume ratio is 6.65. So some serious volume coming in here. And you really want to see this continue to the upside next week, or potentially consolidate and form a short-term shelf here, which could be an actionable swing trade setup. RVLV, nice breakout as well, and dip back into the wick area here and found support near there. But once again, a strong close, decent closing range of 77% this day, and nice volume coming in with basically 4 of the last 5 days being pocket pivots. So looks pretty strong, right near all-time highs. And once again, you want to see follow through or tight consolidation. ASO also had a breakout, a little bit of hesitation here on this day, but we'll see what happens next week. CPE, nice upside reversal here, an oops reversal on this day. So if you're quick enough, you could have bought it through this low and had a nice gain to end out the week. Nice volume coming in as well on that reversal as it kind of sets up the breakout through this pivot, which is at 42.31 next week. And ideally that is on volume. NVIDIA doing a lot of nothing here, gap down, didn't really break through this pivot, which is what I was watching, but did reclaim that 21 EMA on this Friday. Sono also just kind of leaked this entire week, doesn't look too great at this moment, still basing here within this kind of 44 to 35 range. SLQT still setting up here, also kind of declined a little bit here, but found support at the green line, which is this IPO high, and that is at 29 flat. So that is an important level. You want to see it close above that line. And moving on, we've got Roblox, which also just leaked this week, didn't activate this pivot here. It was an inside day and down, so actually a potential short entry on this bar, and overall not much of a push upwards on this Friday. It was on low volume. Crowd also just leaked this week, so a lot of stocks look like this at this point. Snap also didn't act well this week, breaking the key moving averages. Once again, an inside day and down, so this was a potential short. And you can see it's finding support near this anchored VWAP from the earnings gap up. Moving on, we've got 4, which had an inside day and down here once again, breaking this low. So once again, a potential short and a very wide range bar here. So this is a no touch for me going forward until it really sets up and tightens up again. This day was in the wick, but once again, not inspiring a lot of confidence with this closing range. And yeah, something that I'll be keeping track of, but not really focused on for an entry for quite a while. Net also just leaked, didn't activate this cup and handle setup here. And once again, we talked about the poor reaction to earnings. PUBM also leaked. And yeah, this is void. The setup is void at this point, below all the key moving averages. VUZI also below all those key moving averages, inside day and down on this Monday. And finally, NVAX also an inside day and down. So once again, a potential short actually this week from this tight consolidation. So overall, after a strong move up like this tight consolidation can still go either way. So it's important to keep that in mind. So overall, a lot of the setups didn't trigger to the upside. Instead, they triggered to the downside. And we had some nice breakouts with FNKO and RVLV. So overall, that is an overview of my watch list from this previous week. I'll be posting my next list of ideas tomorrow on Sunday. And moving on to market sentiment, you can see an increase from 35.5% bullish to 42.2% bullish. This still isn't overextended, so that's a good sign. And this value was actually pretty low considering we were right near all-time highs on the SPX. Looking at the name, we saw a decrease from 103.72, which is quite extended last week, down to 87.79. I still would like to see this decrease a little bit, but this is a move in the right direction. And looking at the put call ratio, this is still pretty much in no man's land, and the bulls versus bears poll is back above 60, so this is a little bit overheated at this moment. Moving on to the IBD Big Picture article, the headline is Stock Market Rallies Despite Weak Jobs Report, S&P 500, Dow hit record highs. Reading through, they discuss a strong action from the indexes on this Friday. The FFTY was up 2.3%. SQ was battling to reclaim the 50-day. And they talk about the poor jobs report, which only had 266,000 new jobs when the estimate was near 1 million. And the unemployment rate rose slightly last month. But once again, it's the reaction to the news that's important. And today we kind of shrugged that off and had a pretty strong end to the week. So overall, they talk about a few stocks down here. HZO had a breakout, it looks like, and EOG also ended just out of the buy range down here. So those are some potential stocks to have on your watch list. Overall, their current outlook is uptrend resumes, and we have 4 distribution days on the NASDAQ and 4 on the S&P 500. And finally, we've got the GMI signal, which is still green since April 5th. But on this past Thursday, the GMI score was a 5 out of 6, and we were on day 2 of the QQQ short-term downtrend. However, Dr. Wish does point out that a lot of non-QQQ type stocks are doing quite well with 378 new highs. So overall, the whole stock market, non-growth, non-tech related, is doing quite well. So overall, taking everything into account, my current view is a confirmed uptrend, and I'll be looking to increase exposure next week. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please go and leave a like down below and subscribe if you are new. I'll see you guys in future videos.